Welcome back, everyone. We're here today on a brand new Cabral concept. Thanks so much for joining me here on the show. Always love starting the week with you each and every Monday for our Mindset and Motivation Mondays. Today's topic is based around a quote that I saw, and I allowed myself to really think deep about it. Allowed myself maybe a few minutes to say, what does this quote mean? How might I be able to apply it to my life? And that's a lot of times what I write about on the Sunday Rewind emails, which hopefully you do get. My goal is to take these big issues that life throws at us and to say, okay, is there a simpler way to look at this? Is there a way that this doesn't have to be so overwhelming or intimidating that I might be able to use this in my own life and then teach it inside of my practice and with our entire health-based community? So this was the quote. And I thought it was beautiful. I mean, it really was. It's deep when you think about it. So let's get into it. It says, if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. I want to read that one more time, and then we're going to peel this back. If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. And when I started to think about this, I was awestruck by its simplicity, meaning that most of us, as they say, we want our cake and we want to be able to eat it too, right? So here's the thing, is that I think in our present day culture, we've been led to believe that we want everything in life. We want it now, and we don't want to have to work for it. We don't want there to be any sacrifice for it. And even now, more than ever, I believe that many people, for themselves and for their family, are making massive sacrifices. Massive sacrifices in terms of schools, massive sacrifices in terms of jobs, how you're living, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, whatever the new normal is. There's a lot of sacrifice going on. But when we start to really peel this back, we look at, well, this is what we truly want out of life. And if you start to pinpoint what it is that you are looking for out of life, things change. Because no matter what, and I'm going to share with you some examples right now, you are sacrificing in life. Let me just share some examples to make this a little bit more concrete. Because again, it's all about choosing your sacrifice. Let me give you an example. So a lot of people don't want a restricted diet, right? There's a big pushback right now about a restricted diet. They want to be able to eat whatever they want, whenever they want, okay? If they want to eat dessert, they'll eat dessert. If they want cookies, they'll eat cookies. If they want pizza, they're going to eat pizza. No one is going to tell them otherwise. It doesn't matter about anything else. They don't want to be restricted. Again, I understand in certain regards why people may feel that way. And the issue is, though, right? So the issue is that because of that, they may gain weight. They may increase cardiovascular issues, blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, or cancer, right? Processed food and higher BMI, we know, leads to these things. That's, again, I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying it is, right? So it increases these things. So while they are eating whatever they like, they are sacrificing their long-term health. Not in the short term, but in the long term. Now, on the other hand, if you decide to sacrifice not eating all those sweet treats every day, cookies or pastries or croissants or frappuccinos, and you say, no, I'm only going to do that once a week, well, what you're doing is you are sacrificing all of the mouth pleasures that most of us want, right? But what you are then receiving for this sacrifice is, yes, you might be missing out on all of your opportunities for eating birthday cake and alcohol and all these different things, but you're then improving your health. But there is a sacrifice. The sacrifice is at work, not saying yes to every single birthday celebration, or not saying yes to all the different treats that are around you, right? Your kids' schools, like whatever it might be. So there's a sacrifice there. Same with alcohol, right? So when you drink alcohol, well, you might be in a social situation. You're really enjoying yourself at dinner. You're enjoying yourself out with friends. And again, I'm not talking about every once in a while. I'm talking multiple nights per week, right? But you're enjoying yourself, and you don't want to sacrifice not doing that, right? So the issue is then you are most likely, if you're doing this multiple nights per week, sacrificing increased faster aging, poor sleep, imbalanced hormones, imbalanced blood sugar, weakening of your overall health and increased risk for cancer. So that's the longer term sacrifice, not in the moment, but in the longer term. but not drinking alcohol, right? So you might be improving your overall health, improving your detox for sure, right? But the sacrifice is that you're not always going to be able to drink when you're out with friends at an occasion, whatever it might be. Again, maybe it's once a week. Once a week I'm not talking about. I'm talking about multiple nights per week. But the sacrifice is then, do you feel awkward still going out, being at those occasions and not drinking? Because that's up to you, right? You get to choose that. But it's a sacrifice. So we're sacrificing each way. Same with exercise. This is another big one. Most people, they don't feel like exercising. It's exertion. It's work. I totally get it. There are days like, I'd rather not put on my gym clothes or go to the gym or go downstairs and work out whatever it is. They'd rather spend an hour either sleeping in the morning, right? Or they'd rather just take an hour off, relax, enjoy themselves a bit. They work hard, right? So the problem is, because they get to spend a little bit more of their own leisure time, they're sacrificing potentially their bones, their muscles, their tendons, their overall health, their hormones, their longevity. But if they do exercise and you choose to exercise, what are you sacrificing? Well, you're sacrificing an hour, half hour to an hour, more days than not, that you could have had with sleeping in or leisure time. So it's a sacrifice. Might not be able to go out after work every night or whatever night you might be doing it, right? It's a sacrifice. Or change your schedule around. It's a sacrifice. Another one is in people's jobs, right? A lot of people working a full-time job and they're working extra hours. They're trying to get ahead. They're trying to get a promotion. They're trying to make more money. And they want to improve their overall financial situation. Okay. Now, the sacrifice, though, is that they're going to have less personal time. They might have less family time. And that's a sacrifice that they're choosing to make right now. On the other hand, for the people working to just live in the moment, work the minimum, make just enough money to get by, they're enjoying this moment far more. There's less sacrifice there. However, what they may be sacrificing is promotions now or career advancement now that may lead to greater career success, monetary success in the future. So what I'm trying to say here is that there's always a sacrifice. And when I heard this quote, and I'll just read that quote again to you, if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. And so for me, after I read this, I said, that's right. This person's right. So, and I can't attribute it to anyone individually because this has been passed around quite a bit. But we have to understand is that we all work really hard in our life. We have stress in our life. We can be overwhelmed. I think a lot of that comes from thinking that life isn't about sacrifice. It's a strange thing because they knew this thousands of years ago. I mean, it's written about in Buddhism. It's written about in Ayurvedic texts, Eastern-based philosophy. It's the Western mindset is different. And now I view sacrifice as part of life. But also, I don't view it in a negative way. I realize that either way, there's a sacrifice. There's that yin and the yang, right? There's the great Tao. And so what we have to look at is that, what are we sacrificing for? So if I choose not to drink more than a few times a month, I'm choosing to do that not because I don't enjoy a glass of alcohol with friends or family. It's because I'm choosing the goal of longer term health, the goal of waking up with more energy, right? That's what I'm choosing. So in that moment, I can stay steadfast because I've already chosen a priority. And when I go to the gym after my work day, I could have put in a half hour extra work. I could have a half hour extra of family time. I could have a half hour extra of whatever I want time on social media. But I choose to put in that time because not of what it does today, but what it's doing for my body and health for the next day, for the day after that, for many days to come. It's an accumulation. So one of the ways that I'm able to justify a lot of the things that I do in my life, because we do need to justify our lives, right? That makes us happy. If we believe we're on the right track, if we're working to something worthy, then we are justifying our lives. We're happier individuals. If we believe that it's all sacrifice for naught, then we're unhappy. So the goal is simply deciding what it is that you want. And you've heard me share my priorities many times. And the reason why I can state them every single podcast and very, very simply is because I only keep a handful, maximum. It is family, right? It is my work, what I do, what I'm trying to do in this world. And then everything else, well, then my health and everything else is essentially a distant second, because my family are all my relationships. Like, it's not just my two girls and my wife. It's my parents, my siblings, my community, my network, my friends, right? That's the family. That's my relationships. Then there's the work. Well, that's the mission of what I'm on. I don't skip a day's podcast because it's the second most important thing. And, it's hard to say health is the third most important, because without health, I don't have the first two. So I have to focus on that on a daily basis. But I have my health so dialed in, meaning like so simple, that I eat essentially the same breakfast, lunch, and a healthy dinner every single night. I do my detox 7 days every single quarter. I exercise 4 to 5 days a week. I'm doing the simple things that almost take no time. Like, I have to eat anyway. I'm just choosing to eat healthy foods. I'm doing the detox. Well, I'm eating anyway, so it's not really taking any more time. My sleep, okay, yes, for me, I battle with wanting to stay up later. So I get to bed earlier. That's not necessarily a sacrifice, but I enjoy staying up later. I just make myself go to bed earlier because I'm going to wake up early no matter what. Going to the gym and exercising is not a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice that I have to stop doing my work, which I always have more to do, and that I want to look forward to seeing my daughters before dinner. So there is, again, a small sacrifice there, but overall with health, really, I'm running my at-home labs. I'm not changing anything really nutrition-wise except eating healthier foods, but I still get my flex meal once or twice a week. And then I'm putting in exercise a half hour, 45 minutes, 4 to 5 times a week. And so again, like, once you become aware of what you want and you start to schedule it, then it's done. I don't think about what I'm missing out on, because if I'm choosing those things, I can choose those things if I choose to, if I want to, right? But then I have to realize, you want to, because you're on a business trip and you have the opportunity to have drinks with people 3 nights in a row at a conference, you're going to do that. Is that the choice that you're going to make? How are you going to feel when you get back, when you need to get back to your routine? How are you going to feel? Is that what you want? And if the choice is, if I want to make that choice, I can make that choice, and I can learn from it and say, hey, that wasn't a good idea. Or I can just say, hey, you're gonna have a drink or so one night out of those. Which one do you want it to be? And that's what I'm choosing, right? So here's the thing. A lot of this can seem rigid. It can seem boring. It can seem not fun. I totally understand it. I get it. Just remember, if you are feeling that way, what you hold more near and dear to your heart right now, at least, is living in this moment, not missing out at this moment. And I get it, and I understand that. And I don't want you to miss out in this moment. I just believe that you can be happy in this moment while also working towards the future. I believe in being present right now, right? But the things that I'm doing today are allowing my present tomorrow. And if you're not currently enjoying your present, if something's off, there may have to be a sacrifice in a different area. So if you don't have the health you want, you may have to sacrifice some of the sweet treats and fried foods and going to bed later and drinking the alcohol multiple nights per week. That may have to be a sacrifice, at least for now. Right? If you're not where you like in your career, there might have to be a new certification, career advancement, new job, whatever it might be, in order to move you forward. There might have to be a sacrifice in some new area that enables you to move to the next. I don't have all the answers of what exactly it is that you need. I just know that either way we're sacrificing. And so one person's sacrifice looks miserable to another, but what they may not realize is that person is actually really enjoying their life, right? That's why I see people online. I know colleagues that go to bed at 8 p.m. at night because they want to wake up at 4 a.m. And that's not my schedule. That's not my life, right? But they like it. And far be it from me to say that that doesn't work and that that's crazy or anything like that. Because I know some of these people and they really enjoy their life. They do. They just enjoy going out to dinner at 5 p.m. instead of 7 p.m., right? And they enjoy waking up early because they have all this quiet time. And they enjoy being able to actually work for like 3 straight hours. And then they take an hour off to go to the gym and walk their dog. And they have a more leisurely lifestyle. That's what they chose. So again, what sounds crazy to one individual is the ideal life for another. But what are they sacrificing when they go to bed at 8? Well, no late dinners out, that's for sure, right? Not a whole lot of parties that they're going to, or they're not watching whatever the latest TV show is, not that anything's live anymore at night, right? So they're missing out on that. But what are they gaining? Well, they're gaining what it is that they truly want out of life because they set their priorities. So again, I don't think that's why we can model necessarily anybody else's life. You can experiment with different types of lifestyles, but that should be based on your priorities. Right? So if your priorities say, hey, I really want to get ahead, but I don't have enough hours in the day, well, you may want to go to bed earlier at night and wake up earlier so that you have 2 hours of your own time to work on you. Whether it's health, whether it's career, any of the spirituality, any of those things, you need the time. Well, it's hard to get those hours at night. You're tired. You're exhausted. You just want to sit on the couch. That's wasted time. I mean, again, in the eyes of the person that's looking to get ahead in a certain area, you might as well go to bed earlier, wake up a little bit earlier. It doesn't have to be 4 a.m. Maybe it's 5. And from 5 to 7, you put in 2 straight hours of study, of prepping your meals, of exercise, like whatever it is that you want, you're going to move forward fast in life. Now, one of the reasons why I decided to do this podcast is not for this like ho-hum topic of, life's about sacrifice, but it is. I just want you to know that we're always sacrificing the opposite, the antithesis of what we are currently going for, right? If there's a big play with our health, we need to get rid of that autoimmune issue, the migraines, the fatigue, the psoriasis, whatever it is. Well, we need to make some sacrifices now, right? We can't eat the same foods. We need to fix our digestion. We need to lower our stress. We need to do the things that are going to improve our autoimmune issue or other, right? There has to be a sacrifice. Because if not, the sacrifice is living with psoriasis or living with migraines. Like, that's the sacrifice. There's always a sacrifice. So once we know this, though, it makes it so much easier to choose your sacrifice. And that is why I really love that quote. So I'm going to leave it with you one more time and then one last thought. If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. So all I want to do is bring some awareness around this issue. And if you choose your sacrifice and you choose it wisely based on your priorities, and you know why you're making the sacrifice, which then allows you to have the peace of mind to go through life knowing that you're doing the right thing at this particular moment based on your current circumstances. You'll always be able to live with that. You'll be a whole lot happier and a lot more at peace. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you. And of course, if this show is helpful, please do feel free to share it with anyone else you believe it could serve.